Okay. Welcome to the Personal Transformation Summit Wrap-Up Party. I'm Renee Porteous.
And I'm Mara Porteous.
And we appreciate you joining us today. We realize that it's going into a long weekend and a holiday weekend here in the States. And so a lot of people are out enjoying their time with their family and loved ones. And we plan on doing that here in a little bit ourselves. But first, we wanted to wrap up the Personal Transformation Summit for the year. We have a special announcement, and we also want to give you an opportunity to share your biggest takeaways and any comments that you may have about the summit.
So if you're just joining us now, you can post your comments or questions right there in the bar. Renee will be monitoring those on her screen, so we'll keep you posted, and we'll reply to all of the comments and questions that come in. We'll also look at some of the comments and questions that have come throughout the summit, and we'll be responding to each of those as well. So thank you very much for being here. Again, we realize that whether you're here live on Memorial Day weekend or you're listening to this replay later, we really appreciate you stopping by and checking out what we're doing here with the Personal Transformation Summit. So one of the things we wanted to address is people were saying, well, why, first of all, are you having a wrap-up party? Well, it's been a really long experience. It's taken months and months to put this together. Renee's been diligently working behind the scenes. If you haven't already, you can watch our interview where Renee actually interviews me for the summit, and we talk a little bit more about why we put the summit together. So I hope that you'll check that interview out, and we'll be sharing some of our biggest takeaways from the other speakers as well. For me, it's just been a huge growing experience, I think, for both of us and for obviously many of you. So we wanted to kind of share what we got from it and what a lot of other people took away from it. And as Renee said, we've got a big surprise to share with you as well. Do you want to?
Well, first, I have received a lot of emails during the summit, and I tend to be the person that checks those, and I forward some of them on to Mark to address personally. But we really appreciate hearing from you. It really means a lot. It's a lot of hard work, so getting those emails of encouragement is really awesome. And I had a lot of people that said, "Oh, sorry, I won't be able to make it because of the holiday," or "they're camera shy." But Mark, you don't see all those emails. I have to tell you, I see a lot of them that are about you. Like, thank you for what you do from the whole Personal Transformation Summit community and from myself. It's a wonderful thing what you're doing, just to share, to help everyone empower themselves to be the change they want to see in the world. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and you're welcome. I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to be able to help support people, and each of you, in sharing your gifts and just along your own personal development path. For me, it's been wonderful not only to get the reactions from the listeners, but from you as well. Watching you grow over the last 14 years has been wonderful. But seeing everything that you've done since we started working together and helping people to transform their lives and their business to make a bigger impact in the world has been phenomenal for me. Both watching you grow and the support that you offer me. I hear all the time, I wish I had a Renee. And not just about your technical skills, but your emotional support and just all of the wonderfulness that you are. You're beautiful, brilliant, and most of all, you're a lot of fun. And that's what we're here for today, to have some fun getting our Memorial Day weekend kicked off. For a lot of people, this is the beginning of summer. It doesn't feel like it here in Ohio. It was kind of chilly this morning, but this is the beginning of summer, which is supposed to be a time of fun. I think that that's really what life is about. So I think that this is a great time to be having a wrap-up party for the Personal Transformation Summit. So let's get started. Again, we do have a big announcement. I want to share this right away. We'll go into more detail in a little while. But it was Renee's idea that we look at the reader's response to some of the speakers that we've had and actually do a listener's choice, the featured speakers. So you want to tell us a little bit about what we'll be hearing today, or who we'll be hearing from? Or?
Sure. Well, Basically, we will have 10 speakers available for you to listen to for the whole entire week. There's no time period for any of them. There's no 48 hours that you have to listen to them. And we know that a lot of people registered for the summit later, and they might have missed that very first call that was phenomenal with Derek Rydell that we had. And a lot of people, you know, we just really wanted to get them the first week. There were some really powerful calls that were missed. We have Derek Rydell, the #1 law of emergence expert, and we also have world-renowned chiropractor and health expert Dr. Fab Mancini. That's what 2 of them from the first week, that they were the very first calls, so we were hearing a lot of people, oh, I missed that one, so I wanted to be sure to share those.
And we'll go over the whole list. I realize that it's further on in our agenda. I didn't mean to get ahead, but we'll share the full list of everybody that's going to be in the Best of week. And what if people haven't registered yet? Can they?
Sure. If you go to personaltransformationsummit.com, you can still register, and you will actually, the email is a little customized. I did it this morning, so you'll have a special email that'll have the link to actually listen to the replays. And I'll also be sending out an email to everyone that registered. Tomorrow you'll get an email with the link, and you'll have all week to enjoy it. So just be sure to save that page so that you can go back to it to access all the speakers.
And I also wanted to explain a little bit about why Renee decided that she wanted to do a listener's choice replays for a whole week. We realized that this season there's been a lot of other summits. In fact, some of our guests have been in those summits. In fact, our featured speaker, Steve Farrell, had his own summit, the Living in Oneness Summit, which was absolutely huge. And a lot of people would look at these other summits as competition. You know, it took away your time to be able to, you had to choose where you were going to spend your time. So we realized that a lot of people weren't able to listen to all the calls that they wanted to. And some of the other summits, just as an example, Ocean Robbins had his own summit, another speaker in ours. The Food Revolution Summit, and hopefully you guys will listen to some of the calls, go back and even check out what they're doing with their work as well. The reason that we are working together and collaborating is because we have the same message to share, and we want to support each other, not compete. That's not the new paradigm. So we wanted to make sure that those of you who weren't able to listen to all the calls had an opportunity at least to be able to listen to the most popular calls, the ones who we have the most feedback from, the most response, most comments, and be able to give you an extended opportunity to listen to those. During the entire summit, we were offering, and we're still offering, a package where you can download all of the calls, the VIP package, the upgrade, and 50% of that money goes to the Humanities team. That's our featured beneficiary for this summit. The other 50% goes to whoever sent you here to look at the Personal Transformation Summit. We want to make sure that everybody is rewarded for being part of sharing this information. So none of the money that is raised from our partners goes to us. It goes either to them or it goes to our partner Humanities team. But each of our speakers has offered really special bonuses that you can download for free and start using some of the information that they're sharing with you on a much deeper level. So each one of these calls that you're going to be listening to over the next week, all of the listeners' favorites, will share powerful ways that you can change your life just from listening to the call. And then on top of that, you get these bonuses that they're all offering and the special offers. The offers that they're sharing are not available anywhere else. And in fact, we had to go through and verify with each of them that they would be able to extend their specials through the end of the month. So everything that you're seeing here, all the discounts, all the specials are available through the end of the month. And just listening to the calls, again, you'll have huge takeaways. And even though we're wrapping up today, we still want to hear from you. So as you listen to the calls, please post your comments and questions below, and I promise that I'll reply to each of them personally and also pass them on to the speakers. So is there anything else that you wanted to address before we get into our lineup for the speakers, or the
Not
featured
that,
speakers?
no, I think that really covers it.
I wanted to share a little bit just about my own, because I had a lot of people that were asking me what my biggest takeaways were. So if you don't mind, before we get into sharing that.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Again, I'm grateful for this opportunity to be able to speak with literally some of the world's leading transformational experts. I know that many of the people that I interviewed charge over $1,000 an hour to speak with them, and I got to ask them anything that I wanted. I could have been very selfish and just asked about the issues. In fact, to some degree, I guess I was selfish in asking the issues that are most important to me, because I know that what is relevant to me is probably relevant to you as well. And the theme of the summit is empowering you to be the change that you want to see in the world. So we asked each one of our speakers what change they most want to see in the world, and then followed up with questions to find out, what they're doing to help be the change and how they can support you in that effort as well. So for me, I listened carefully to find out what these incredible speakers had to offer. What were their biggest nuggets of wisdom, so to speak? And for me, I picked up a couple of key things that I want to share with you. First of all was the idea or the notion that we're not victims, that we get to choose our role in how we live our life, that we get to choose the work that we do, how we want to express ourselves, and that it doesn't matter what happens to us, that we actually get to choose how we respond to each of those challenges in life. And no matter where you are in life, you're going to have challenges, but how you rise to those occasions determines your what you get out of it, the results. So I think that was the biggest takeaway for me, was that we do have control. Sometimes it feels like no matter what we do, we don't have control of our own lives. And I think that it's just a perspective of realizing it's not what happens to us, but how we respond to that. That was, I think, the biggest, most important takeaway, because it gave us control. And I think that's really important. But from that, I realized that there were certain things that we can do to have more control. One of those things, I think, is the attitude of gratitude. We heard that again and again about people who are living joyful, prosperous lives are also paying great attention to and acknowledging everything that they have in their lives currently. And sometimes when you're going through really difficult times, it's hard to pay attention to or even acknowledge all the goodness that we have, all of the bounty that we get to enjoy. So I think being able to focus on what you already have and the goodness in your life draws more of that to you. So one of the other things that, again, we can't change other people. It's really about being the change that you want to see in the world. When you change yourself, you do find that the things around you change as well, and the way people interact with you. So it's a personal journey rather than what can I do in the world. What you can do most in the world is to be the best you that you can be. That was a lot of fun for me. And I think another one of the biggest takeaways was about taking action. It's not just about learning this information, because we provided incredible amounts of useful information, and you could write it all down, but if you don't start applying it, then it's not going to really transform your life. Transformation doesn't come from information, but applying that information and taking action in our life. So each one of these calls also offers a call to action so that you can take the next step in growth. And I think now's a good time to get into those calls and see what we can take away.
Sure. So I briefly mentioned a couple of them. So do you want to start with the very first one?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Certainly one of our most popular calls was the very first call, Derek Rydell.
And it was a fun call. I really enjoyed listening to him. He's a lot of fun, so hopefully you'll check that one out.
It is. And again, that goes back to a lot of the meaning of life is to have fun.
I was sitting in the library though when I was listening to it, and I kind of I have my headphones on and I start chuckling and I'm looking around like, oh no, I'm being the noisy one in the library. So
it's a lot of fun because I get to participate in the call. I get to somewhat drive the call by the questions. Our speakers had certain information that they wanted to share, but it was really fun to be present in the call, and I'm taking notes just as if I was listening to the call myself. But when Renee listens to it, it's usually through her editing. She goes through and listens to the entire call, and so it's a little bit of a different perspective, much more like yours. But she's being very careful to listen to every detail. So it's really fun that we get to have 25 hours of transformational information that we get to enjoy as part of this process. So yeah, Derek got to start it off. If you haven't gotten a chance to hear it, you'll definitely want to catch that. He's an amazing guy with an interesting past. He used to be a soap opera actor, and he'll share a very important story in his life, again, with tools that you can use right away. So just listen to the call. You'll be able to come out of that call with tools that you can use. And again, his program is all about the law of emergence. We talk about the law of attraction being drawn into, but the next step of that is what emerges out of the law of attraction. And I think that even though it's indirect, we talk about the law of emergence through many of these other calls by how you apply what you're learning in your life. I don't know if you want to share any of what you wrote down from the bigger takeaways from that.
I can share some of the stuff that he'll talk about in his training. Sure. In this, and it's the law of attraction, the radical 7-step process to effortless success. You'll discover the biggest mistake that makes most successful strategies fail and how to end this destructive pattern forever. And the revolutionary principle for manifesting everything you need no matter what conditions you face. And that's the big game changer right there. So those are just a couple things. There's a lot to this call. There was a lot of meat to that call, and I really did enjoy it. And a lot of our listeners did too. So because it was the first one and so many people that registered later missed it, I just felt really strongly compelled to make sure I shared it again, that we shared it again at the end.
And that was the same with the next call. I know that some people, again, some of these speakers are on multiple summits during this busy summit season, which will make some changes in our future decisions because of that. But one of our speakers, our next one, was Dr. Fab Mancini, who is just one of the most beautiful human beings. He just beams light in everything that he does. And if you're into understanding alternative health and wanting to find newer ways to heal your body, mind, and spirit, he incorporates the whole package. He is a chiropractor by trade, but he really has gone so much deeper into alternative healthcare. His work in cancer treatment that he's been doing most recently over the last year is phenomenal. And so whatever health issues you might be having, you definitely want to look at Dr. Fab Mancini's work. You'll love the call. He, like myself, is very much a family man, focusing on his number one goal of filling his children and his wife with love. And for me, it was a great example to be able to speak to my mentors and to see how they balance work and life is so important for me, because this work is phenomenal and I enjoy doing it so much. But one of the things that I've found is that having no boundaries between my work life, my social life, and my family life brings up certain challenges. And so I'd like to see how other people are addressing those challenges. People who are doing it very, very well and have been doing it for many years. So you definitely want to check out Dr. Fab Mancini's call. And again, please share any questions or comments that you have. Because in this call, actually, do you want to share a little bit of what he's going to be talking about?
He's going to share the best ways that you can heal physically, and as well as something that a lot of people don't think about sometimes, about how our emotions can really make us sick. And also how important it is to have a spiritual practice. So like Mark said, he really incorporates the whole entire being and how that affects us physically with sickness.
Yeah, with our well-being, our health. Yeah. And I'm really glad that you brought up the connection to source, because he talks about body, mind, and spirit. Mm-hmm. And that was another one of the biggest takeaways that I've received, and it's been a message I've been getting a lot in many different ways. It's been showing up that one of the most important things that you can do is having that connection with Source, and we'll talk about that with some of the other speakers. But having a regular spiritual practice plays such a pivotal role in your overall well-being, both your physical health, your mental health. And your mental health is so important, and it so correlates with your physical well-being. So that having that balance is important, and your energetic, your spiritual health as well. It all fits together. So that's definitely an important part of his talk. And then so again, we're showing 10 callers. Our next one would be Karen Wyatt.
Yes, Dr. Karen Wyatt. She actually is a family practice physician. She was for 25 years or so, and also works with a lot of end-of-life hospice. So she kind of takes us out of our comfort zone a little bit, I think, with.
And even for her, it was out of her comfort zone. We've been working with Karen for a number of years now, and watching her grow through this process of talking about a very uncomfortable discussion, the end of life. It's something. It's one of the fears that we all have, is dying, and it's the ultimate fear for most people. And her book, What Really Matters, is 7 lessons about living from stories of the dying. She was able to overcome her own fear of death through working in hospice, and I think that overpowering that fear really helps empower everyone, and that's what we're all about, is personal empowerment. I think that the ultimate level of personal empowerment is service to others, and that's the goal that we strive towards. But it really starts from inside, and when you're living in fear about the end of your physical existence, that can really limit much of the experiences that we have here. So she gives us some really, really practical tools. We've loved the feedback from everyone. Please keep them coming. Let us know, and we love to be able to pass everything along to the speakers too. That they enjoy hearing from you through us. But again, I think it's an absolute fabulous call. We're grateful to both work with Karen and to know her very closely. And I think this is actually not only something that's growing in our community, but it's something that people are addressing a lot more. Understanding that the end of life isn't something to just be forgotten about, put out in pasture, but the importance of elders, the importance of learning. These are the most experienced people on our planet, and yet we don't give them always the value. And that puts us in the same fear of like, oh, I don't want to be put in that position. So when we can really respect the value of our elders, and for the people who are in those final stages of life at any age, we can appreciate our own human experience more. So I'm really, really excited that we get to share that message again during this special week.
And then we also have Lisa Danley. Her call is Claiming Your Role in the Global Great Story. You want to talk a little more about Lisa?
Yes, absolutely. The whole idea of the great story is important to me. We look at it on 2 different levels with Lisa. One is you as an individual have different phases in your life, and understanding your great story and how your mess is your message. Your experience, all those things, all that pain that you've gone through serves a role in your own life, in your own human development. It also plays a role in the bigger picture, in society, and you can see how your pain turns into your biggest catalyst for growth, and then you get to then take that to help other people and be of service to others is absolutely phenomenal. And when we look at the human story and how human development, the species on the whole, has grown, and we had our initial story of hundreds of years or thousands of years of growing pains, and now we're at this point where we're really facing a lot of what could be crises that could totally change the face of the planet and the way that humanity exists within the planet. But it also is an opportunity for what is being called the Great Awakening, and that for me is very exciting, and that's a huge part of Lisa's message of hope. Because that's another reason that we wanted to have the Personal Transformation Summit, isn't just what can we do, but we want to realize the problems that are out there, and then solutions for those problems. We are totally against fear-based thinking. We want to have solution-based thinkers. Okay, here are the problems. We want to be aware of them, but then we want to come up with solutions and see hope for humanity and for ourselves, for our own existence. And you'll get a lot of that with Lisa's call.
We also have Amy Serafini, who's a personal dear friend of mine as well as a colleague, and absolutely love the girl. She is a women's empowerment coach, and she's a relationship expert, and she's going to be talking about, in a relationship, what if you're the only one trying? Do you want to talk a little more about Amy?
I'd love to. I love talking about Amy, and it is fun that she's become such a close, dear friend of ours just through the work that we're doing. She's like a combination of both of us. Your brains and your organizational structure and all that, but still the outgoing, being comfortable in your own skin, being able to be out there kind of in front, doing this work and building relationships. A lot of it is about that building relationships part. And when you said working on relationships when you're the only one, I think anybody can relate to that.
In some relationship, right? Maybe not everyone, but absolutely.
And most of us, it's someone in our family. We can look for somebody in our family where it just seems like they're not putting the effort in. But if you can't find someone in your family, then you can either look at your friend relationships, whether it's you have a friend and then their spouse is very, very challenging. In your work relationships is often the most difficult because it seems that there's nothing you can do about it. You can't just leave your job because you don't like your boss or somebody that you work with. And that's not actually the truth, because you can. If it's really that bad of a problem. But if you really love where you are and you just have this one person in any part of your life that isn't working on it, like I said earlier, you can't change the other person. But there are things that you can do to change how you relate to that other person, which will totally change your relationship. And we found many times that relationship totally either dissolves and doesn't become an issue at all, or transforms to actually become a friendship, a partnership. And Amy has a really, really powerful method to help you deal with relationships, again, when you're the only one that seems to be working on it. We're really, really happy to have you appreciate her value as much as we do, because again, all these decisions were made based on your activity and your comments, and we appreciate that.
We also have Ken Stone, known as the Soul Archaeologist. He's going to talk about something that was one of the themes of week 2, is the divine and the divine within each of us.
And we didn't really even discuss it in our interview. When Renee interviewed me, we kind of went over the format of the Personal Transformation Summit. We basically split it up into the 3 departments that we got the most feedback from last year during the second Personal Transformation Summit, which are pretty much what people invest most on in personal development. And that's relationships, your health and well-being, and your money and your career. So we started off with the first week working on where it all starts, from within. And so we started with your own personal well-being. And then the second part of your own personal well-being is body, mind, and spirit. So we used all 3 of those elements. The next part about was your relationships, and not just your relationships with other people, but your relationship with self. Self-love is an important part of that. And another key component is your connection to source. And whatever that connection might be, whatever your trusted source is, having that spiritual connection has proven for most of our guests to be really the pivotal change that helped them transform their lives, and one of the big keys, the tools that they offer all of us. And Ken is just an amazing, beautiful soul who is just really, really easy to connect with. He's like the big teddy bear of love. And so we got to spend a few minutes before the call just connecting one-on-one, and it felt like it was all sappy going right into the call. And I think you'll pick up on that right away. You'll feel how sincere and genuine he is, and really wanted to help people heal on a very deep, deep level. It's about soul healing, so that you can come here and live your highest purpose without all those barriers and blocks. I know that you'll love Ken's call, and I'm looking forward to you connecting with him and getting to learn with him on this ongoing journey.
Absolutely. And we have sweet little Julie Genovese.
Nothing short of joy.
Nothing short of joy. Yes, that is her memoir. It's actually an award-winning, best-selling memoir, and she was actually in our summit last year as well, and we've been working with her for a few years now as well. Do you want to talk about her or her call or?
Absolutely. Her call is really about overcoming adversity, and every one of us has adversity in our lives. We all have that, and it's one of the things, we look at our adversity as a challenge, but so often those challenges are really our opportunities for growth. And it sounds really easy to talk about that from here, but when you're actually wrapped up in it, when you're feeling that adversity yourself, sometimes it's really hard to look at it as an opportunity. We might say, I've just lost my job, how am I going to deal with that? Or I've got a cold this week, and I can't afford to be sick this week. It really sucks. But what Julie's been through for her entire life, or especially most of her young life, she was born as a dwarf and had incredible painful arthritis as one of the many side effects. Went through many different tests, and there's all kinds of experiences that for some people it just could have been unbearable and could have really crushed their spirit. And instead, this kind of seemed to inflate her spirit, to make her look like she's 6 feet tall and just beaming with life. And when you hear her talk, just the energy from the conversation will be enough to make your day. I
Absolutely. Everyone said that. So we had to include Julie because they were like, you feel the joy when you listen to her speak. She's awesome. So.
And if that's what you're looking for a life of more meaning and joy, I don't think there's a more important call that you can listen to. And she talks a lot about creativity. She's an artist and a beautiful writer. Listen to her language. It's just the way that she speaks, who she is. But so many of us shut down that creative side. We know that we have a left brain and right brain, and we talk a lot throughout this summit about being able to integrate head and heart, or left and right brain. Being able to feed that creative side of you is so important for fulfilling your purpose. It's a big part of the Personal Transformation Summit. So I know that you'll enjoy the call. Just the energy of the call itself will be healing. And of course, she does have a wonderful bonus gift and a great offer as well. So I look forward to hearing from you more about what you get from that call.
And we also have Lillian Eve Moore.
It's really fun because I think about each of the individual speakers and who they are on the planet, and just the gratitude that I have to be in the same constellations as these wonderful beings. Lillian has been doing this work since she was a little girl. Her first healing started when she was 9 years old. She started coaching when she was just 21. She's been helping people to understand their purpose literally since she was 21. She runs one of the largest online websites for understanding your purpose, the one question. And she's just done some amazing work.
She's also a fellow twin mom, which I totally dig.
Yeah, we totally relate. Her twins are just a year older than our twins, and so we can really relate to the whole importance of family and still being a transformational agent, but making sure that parenting is first. For me, since I was a little kid, I felt this desire to save the world, save the planet. It was the whole environmental thing when I was young in the 70s. She has that, but she also knows that parenting is job one, and we feel the exact same way.
That with her, for sure.
Yep. But being able to balance that, she's also able to address the three biggest questions, and we talked about that earlier. What do people most want from their personal development? And for her, she's done a lot of research on that, and her huge audience has said that they're most interested in money, miracles, and sex. So we'll talk about all of that. And the sex kind of goes back to relationships, and sex is just one of the expressions within a relationship. So you'll get to hear a very colorful commentary and personal experience around all three of those, and particularly wealth. I think that a lot of us right now are having challenges understanding how money and meaning are connected. We want to live a more meaningful life, and therefore we say, okay, we can't charge for that. How can we make money doing what matters? So I think that conversation is absolutely critical at this time where transformation is so important, and there's so many people out there that are wanting to help create that transformation, and so many great healers, and I've known so many of them that are great at helping other people and then often struggle to take care of themselves. So this is a really good view on how you can balance money and meaning, and be able to draw more prosperity into your life comfortably and easily, and with great joy. Another important call.
And then we have Mr. Positive, David Buford. This is another good one because I'm really into creative visualization, so this was a good one for me.
Absolutely. And again, I talk about being able to relate to so many of our speakers. I remember years ago, over a year ago, when I was first talking to David about being called Mr. Positive, and how you even talked to me about friends of yours saying, is he always Mr. Sunshine?
Is
he really like that? Yeah, people would ask you, is he really like that, or is he just is that an act? And you say, well, it's real, but it's not always so easy being married to Mr. Sunshine. And I realize that there are challenges with that life isn't always happy and peppy. So being able to acknowledge that is important. But also being able to stay positive, even in the most difficult situations, is incredibly helpful. And David is an expert at that. He's been writing his blog, Mr. Positive, for 17 years now. And it's a free service. He sends out a daily positive affirmation every day. He works with other transformational agents like we do in helping them to share their message and to do it in a bigger way. And he has found that the most powerful tool that he can offer is creative visualization. And a lot of you may have created either a vision board. You may have even learned last year, one of our guests was Natalie Ledwell of Mind Movies, and they have those the digital vision board that includes music and all this other stuff. Well, what David provides with his creative visualization is absolutely phenomenal. The way that our mind works and the way that we can actually program it through our own creative visualization, the way that our mind creates this picture of what we want, and that we can actually tie that into reality, and where we can actually attract that. So you'll really love hearing his call and talking about how we manifest, whether we're doing it consciously or subconsciously. If we're doing it subconsciously, we don't always attract what we really want. But when we can be really conscious of it, we can create these visualizations that are specifically for what we want, and we can focus on that rather than subconsciously focusing on what we don't want and continuing to attract that. So you want to be able to change what you're manifesting very, very quickly. You'll definitely want to be able to tune in for this call. And again, remember, all of these expert calls are available all week long. So it's not like you only have 48 hours to listen to each one. There's no specific schedule. You can go through, and if you haven't registered already, again, can they register right here on the page?
No. Go to the homepage, personaltransformationsummit.com. They might be watching on Google Hangouts, or you might be watching on the web. I gave people the option to do either because I know not everyone's familiar with Google Hangouts. It's still kind of a newer platform. But you will be getting an email tomorrow if you are registered. So look for that email in the morning about the replays.
Excellent. And we talked about most of the calls already. One of the other calls that is also available, again, is our interview. It was really fun for me to have Renee kind of stepping out of her comfort zone.
I go from that to this. What am I thinking?
That was at least behind the camera. There was no camera there. So
no, it was just audio. But then I'm like, okay, let's do this. Sounds great.
This is all part of our own personal development and stretching and expanding ourselves to share with you. So thank you, Renee, for being here on this call, and thank you so much for the interview. It was really fun. I look forward to a lot more of that. I look forward to a lot more of us working together to help other people share their message. So.
Yes, so be sure to check out Mark's call. It'll give you kind of an insight, and he asks the speakers these questions, and you can kind of hear his stories. So it was really fun to get to share that with the audience, and we had a lot of feedback about that. People really enjoyed hearing, okay, what about Mark? What does he do?
It's also helpful too, because I give some quick pointers. You might want to listen to it before you go back and listen to all the other calls, just because I can share some ideas on how to overcome the overwhelm of having 10 speakers to listen to over the next week.
Right.
You may want to go through and listen to a couple of, start off with listening to my call and hear some of the pointers I have about how you can get the most from this next week. You can still buy the VIP package and own all 25 of the calls, or you can at least start off by listening to these free calls this week. And at the end of my call, our call, we do talk also about the Max Your Life program that we're going to be offering over the next 8 weeks, starting mid-June. So you'll want to be sure to check out that special offer as well. Being part of the Personal Transformation Summit, you're getting a huge discount that's not available anywhere else. So make sure to check that out. Again, we did verify with all of our speakers that the discounts that they offered are good through the end of the month. We can't guarantee anything after May 31st. Is there a May 31st?
There is a May 31st. Right. Yes.
See, she checks all my technical points. So my offer is definitely good until then. All of their offers are good until then. You can listen to them and gain from each of these calls whenever. But again, the offers are time sensitive, so you want to make sure to catch up to this week.
Awesome.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share? Oh, actually, just in talking about my program, there's three main things that we cover. It's really about, the course is called Max Your Life, so it's pretty self-evident. It's about making the most of the limited time that we have here in human experience. I originally created the course for myself to help me complete my book, The Human Experience, when I felt like I wasn't living in congruence with what I was writing. So it talks a little bit about the quest for purpose and understanding why we're here. And it starts with self-discovery, learning more about who you are at the very core. Who are you at your essence? And how do you find out why you're here? What is your purpose? These are two questions man's been asking really since the beginning of time. Who am I and why am I here? We'll address those. And then we'll talk about powerful tools that are freely available to everyone to guide you on your quest. And then finally, the third part is all about manifesting the life that you desire. So we're going to talk about manifesting techniques and how you can live a more present, purposeful, and passionate life. I hope you'll join me on that journey.
Great.
So is there anything else that you want to share in closing?
I don't think so. I don't see any questions up on the Google there, so we're good there.
Again, I realize it is a busy weekend.
Yeah, I'm ready to go put my swimsuit on, but it's not quite warm enough for that here. So maybe I'll just go enjoy some sunshine with my little kiddos, and we'll start our weekend. So I hope everyone enjoy your weekend.
I promise you, we will have a memorable Memorial Day weekend, and I hope that you do too.
Yes, absolutely.
Again, whenever you're watching this video, we appreciate that you're here. We look forward to helping you along the journey and look forward to sharing that journey with you. I like to end all our calls by saying that the light in me respects and appreciates the light in you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Much love.